coagulant. Soothing to the wound, let the pain pass, I'll be fine soon. Time brew, though taking its toll on the soul. Deep breath in distress. Attention in the moment. Thus the time, thus the ultimate chaos. I was bred for this. My untimely chimes, they reiterate my insist to desist in and out of reminisce. Thus my pain knows no bounds. Ergo timeless. Destined to go in with the flow till the days my bones turn smoke. My burns forget the need to choke. For I seek to live on between my unpurified lines. They were created in the subliminal. Have me in a phase of puzzles, seeking to find ways to make you relate. Thus no need to never mind for we align like the most frank of times, where the crows crawl to the surface, at least in the expected times, telling of our diet and grind, the ultimate slime to drop and dribble and fall from chaos, then seek back in like the ultimate climb. Hello everyone, welcome to Poetry Journal podcasts. I am your host, Alex Murdock. And what you just heard there is just a depiction of something I wrote. If you don't know, I'm a poet, I'm a writer. This is something I do full time, and so I take it serious. I must say this is the first time, doing an episode on YouTube, to be precise. So yeah, interesting, different, but just keeping it moving as we do. But like I said, it's my first time here. It's my first time just kind of like doing a live here, and I was going to say, if it's your first time, listening to me, this, that, this is kind of like how I like to go about just speaking about, or just kind of like expressing, things I create. What it is, it's kind of like, I like to start like this, and I'll just kind of break things down, just kind of like, speak about my inspirations and pretty much what, the telltale signs or everything I like to go into about pertaining to what I do, which is just breaking down my own take on life tales or my inspiration pertaining to whatever my experiences that I decide to write about. This piece is actually called Time to Shine, funny enough. And with that being said, let's go into it. Let's speak about the ideals behind what I create. But first, I like to start with questions. believer in putting band-aid on long-term emotional wounds, for example, on long-term scars or long-term trauma, or in this case, emotional wounds, because this is poetry, this is art, Paracetamol of sorts, ibuprofen. Watch the earth swallow you before you decide to find a viable solution for your situation. But in the meantime, it festers. Your situation, that venom, it festers. Or it exacerbates the turmoil, in a sense, like gangrene and various other toxins, that type of thing. Are you the type to be ignorant to your pain or the experience that you've been through? In my experience, and this could be anecdotal to myself, but I would say in my experience, I met a lot of people like that. In fact, I would even argue that there is a lot of people that don't necessarily believe in such a premise, but they subscribe to it by mere actions or bad or habits alone. Whether it's good or a bad thing, I'll let you be the judge. So I was here sitting down and just pondering on this whole concept. And this whole thing came to me. It was the whole inspiration behind this piece today that I decided to kind of share with you. Now, I don't necessarily, on occasions I might just, put the whole thing out there, but normally I just have like a paragraph or 2 paragraphs of like a specific piece that I would share, and speak on type of thing. So where am I going with this? There are some wounds that can only be fixed with time. One of the sayings that I have always lived by over the years is that time will tell. Meaning, irrespective of what your ailment is or your situation, whatever damage or issue or problem, whatever it is that needs solving, it's a question, and I believe in time you will get that answer for whatever your situation is. In other words, if I was to be asked who is the biggest snitch, I would argue that all goes to time, so to speak. I'm sure we can all agree to that. Just stating obvious there a little bit, but yeah, I'm sure we can all agree to that. But of course, have a think about what I said, and also want to go into something else actually. It's not something I usually do, but I thought to myself, you know what, we're doing something different today, and I wanted to share something somewhat of my DNA to both poetry, which you've just heard at the beginning, and story writing. Because I also write fiction thrillers, not necessarily crime, but they're fiction. No, second thoughts, there's a lot of crime. There's crime in them as well. So crime thrillers, that is more, part of what I do, and just creating stories, if you're not, even if you haven't been privy to my work, I've created and published 3 short stories so far, and I also have 2 poetry books out currently. In fact, I'm not sure if you can see behind me, right there. That's the most recent book I've published, which is called Poetry Journal, and of course you can find everything on Amazon. But as I said, I really wanted to just share something of my DNA to creativity in terms of creating stories, so people can get an idea of the type of writer I am pertaining to story writing. When it comes to poetry, you only have to look on the platform that I've created, which is on all platforms, podcast platforms, mainly being Podvine and Spotify. Now, I'm going through some difficulties with just getting the recent episodes up on there. And that's part of, I've always been planning to, to get more into YouTube, content. Because normally I would just record it and, just put it on different platforms, including YouTube, but it's more of an audio recording, as opposed to now when I'm doing what I'm doing with videos. So, I will be doing this more often, but as I was saying, I'm just having a bit of difficulty with the audio at the moment, so I'm just working on that. But in the meantime, you can find all the previous episodes. I haven't missed a beat per se, if you look in the right place. All the other episodes are available on YouTube that you might not necessarily find on the podcast platform like Spotify and Podvine. Needless to say, let me get back to what I was going to say. And this is just, I'm not really going to say where, this is just something I've been working on recently. And one of the things I like to do with my audience is just have them, give them certain perks in terms of share certain things that I've created. And it could be recent, it could have been created for a while, but I just like to share things that I believe, or I think they would enjoy, just listening to or hearing, or even if it's just throwing spanners in the work, which I like to do. words, I want to share a little story. Well, a little snippet of a story that I created. But let me stop babbling. His name was Billy Ledger. He was quite the antagonist to everyone around him. Ever since he had arrived at the orphanage. However, since he met Joe, he was somewhat bearable at times, but that only appears to be the case when Joe is around. There were some occasions Joe would run away. He would be gone for days, but would get brought back to the orphanage when the police caught up with him. Those were times everybody felt it the most. When Joe had been gone and absent for days, Daniel Kraft was something of a muse for Billy Ledger. It was as though his imagination ran wild as soon as he locked eyes with Daniel Kraft. It happens intentionally at times, where he would go looking for Daniel, and then there were other times they would simply just be walking in the same direction. Sometimes he would wait, like the hyena tracking its prey, then like clockwork, he would always know when he was approaching the corner of the building that everybody always happened to be absent. And those times were the worst for Daniel. It would seem like the beatings he would take went on for hours, especially when Joe had got it into his head that he needed to get away and run away from home. Old Bill would go wild, which was the time he would simply go looking for Kraft. During these periods, the beatings were even worse. It wasn't a pretty sight. Nonetheless, on this final occasion, Joe ran away from the early morning, and Billy bore witness to what he had done. It was something that was sure to set him off. There was a look of frustration and resentment at what Joe was doing that made him respond with a show of demonic look on his face. At this point, he needed to vent, and in the most relentless way. Coincidentally, Kraft was coming out of the toilet while Ledger was on his way in. Daniel knew he was in for it. Thus, when he went up to him and grabbed the back of his neck and spun him around, Ledger knew he was going to get it. Thus, he took a deep breath and simply embraced himself for the initiation of a long day that he was about to have. Billy stood by his intent on being relentless. So no matter how Ledge squeezed sometimes, he didn't hold back. He pushed his head further down into the toilet. It was fair to say on this occasion that something inside Daniel switched. The funny thing was that Daniel Kraft was actually bigger than Billy, but Daniel was naturally timid and was the implosive type. A socially awkward ticking time bomb that happens to explode on this very day in their altercation. Daniel raised up out of the toilet like the Antichrist and grabbed Billy Ledger. He could see Billy was ready to squirm, but his big hands around his throat with newborn strength didn't let him get any sound out of his mouth. Daniel pulled Billy's head into the toilet and never let him back up. Joe got back to discover his friend was dead that day. And that was pretty much all I had to share. And pardon me if it was a little bit blunt. It was just a paragraph of something I'm working on currently. And I thought it would be interesting to share. There's a lot you could take this is something I'm hoping to, well, I'm continuing to do, but I'm hoping to do more frequently on YouTube, and should be live. So, hopefully everybody will start to tune in. Looking forward to interacting with people as well. So, yeah, feeling positive, feeling good, looking good, and just stay tuned. And you can find me on all platforms at the moment, mainly Spotify and Spotify, but pretty much on all platforms. And you can find so much more episodes, all books, all my everything is available currently on Amazon, regardless of whether you're in the US or the UK. Not hard to find, so appreciate all my listeners, and thank everybody for tuning in and continued support. Until next time.